Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Los Angeles-based jazz saxophonist David Sills. We caught up with him on September 4th to talk about his latest 2020 CD, Natural Lines, and this strange new COVID-19 world we live in. He has been a mainstay on the LA jazz scene since the mid-90s. He has an original style and sound and has the unique ability to embrace the jazz tradition while staying true to his own individual voice. That's a skill. His story is a quality one. Enjoy.
I figured it's a good time to talk about the music.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you calling in and showing an interest.
Absolutely. I love the album. I received it, I believe, last week. I'm still old school, so I love driving around listening to music, and I really enjoyed this album, Natural Lines. Talk to me a little bit about what it's like to release an album during a pandemic.
It's kind of a strange situation because normally you do an album and you do a bunch of gigs, promote it, basically play the music and get out and be part of the scene. And it's really kind of hard to do that right now. I mean, there's definitely an online community of people sharing music, but it's not the same thing. And I mean, I haven't played with a band or with a full group pretty much since the pandemic started. So it's kind of a strange times. But I think on the other hand, having the album out, it's a good time for people to kind of sit back at home and listen.
What do you want the audience, fans, to get from this album? When they get it, consume it, and absorb it, what do you want them to get?
As far as my approach to music is, it's kind of a mixed approach in the sense of some people might even see me as a traditional style player, and then it's interesting because some people also hear me as a modern player. For me, it's about people who listen get a sense of some historical context of the jazz of where I'm coming from, and it's basically, I really have the utmost respect for the history of the music and going all the way back, to its foundation. But at the same time, I'd like people to be left with, hey, it's still current and forward moving. So, for me, it's about people walking away with feeling a sense of positivity and love and just warmth is kind of the approach that I try to take with the music in general.
Let's go to the beginning of your musical road. Talk to me about where you were born and raised and kind of how music became your life.
So I was, I'm from California, and I was born and raised in California near Los Angeles, Manhattan Beach to be specific. And my father was very musical, and he wasn't a professional musician, but he had a love for all the big bands. He grew up from that era of the big band era, and I mean, he loved jazz and he loved big bands. So he influenced me in that, and he had a great ear for music. So just the fact that being around him and him knowing all the American songbook, I mean, there's really, you'd be hard pressed to name a tune from that era that he didn't know. So there was that influence initially, and then I had the opportunity. Here's a plug for like keeping music education in the school system. That when I had the opportunity to play an instrument when I think I was in fourth grade at the school, that's kind of where I started on the saxophone. Just going on from there, when I started getting really more serious, I guess, if you will, in my late teens, I found I had several private teachers, but probably one of the most influential teachers in my entire life, and probably still to this day, the way he plays and the way he taught was Gary Foster, who's a wonderful, probably one of the in his day, one of the top studio woodwind players in Los Angeles, and just a wonderful jazz artist and with his own unique voice and beautiful style player. So he's been probably was my biggest influence at that point. And since then, I've had the opportunity. I studied classical saxophone in college. I lived in New York for a few years and did my master's degree at the Manhattan School of Music. Was able to study with some great jazz artists there. Dick Oates, Bob Mintzer, and Dave Liebman were three of the great saxophone players that I got a chance to study privately with there while I was in New York, and just continuing to learn to this day.
What do you like the best about being a musician?
For me, it's about personal expression, being an individual, being true to yourself, being honest, the honesty and the sense of being able to express who you are in an honest and clear fashion.
When COVID ends and we all get back to live music, when you hit the stage and we hit the audience, what do you hope we realize from this time away?
I really hope that we all. What I'm learning is just the value of the personal connections we make, seeing people every day, and being part of a collective world, and getting along with people, having those relationships. I think that's the thing that we all are losing. I mean, early on, I guess that there was, now freedoms are starting to come back. So I definitely appreciate it. I'm an avid surfer, and for a while they closed all the beaches and I couldn't go surfing. And that I realized, oh wow, that was a real luxury to have that, to be able to have that. And so these kind of freedoms that we sort of take for granted, that we now, when we're starting to get them back, that we really cherish all those moments and the relationships we have as well.
So everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your fans, but you're the one that's living your life. Who do you think you are?
I'm just trying to be myself, basically live as honest as I can. Be the best David Sills that I can. And sometimes, there are definitely role models. There are people I look to very often and say, wow, man, what that guy's doing, or what that girl's doing, whatever. It's just they're doing some serious great things. And so I try to take those influences, but just try to keep a sense of myself and live myself as honestly as I can.
Right on. David, thank you for taking some time out to talk about the album, this world we're in, and about your life and music. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much, Joe. I appreciate you calling.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest cats in Los Angeles, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to David for his time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.